Yeah,
no,
please
that
hit
was
the
me
button.
playing with my fidget cube.
Playing with fidget cube. I saw people carrying those around a lot in university, and I feel like I'm the kind of person that fidgets really often, but I never got one.
I got one as a secondhand gift. We also don't use names except for Bram, so we'll bleep out people.
Oh yeah, well I mean,
I'll edit this.
Yeah, I mean it's like it is all edited in post, so
We can just
you can
bleep
feel
it.
free to use or drop names. We'll just
Bleep them.
It'll be up to our discretion whether or not we include it in the final episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was gonna say,
who's your audience?
Who's our audience?
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
That's a really good question.
I know for sure. This is calling you out, Dad, because it means that you're not one of them. And that was like one of the 4 people I thought listened. Oh, that's okay, Dad. Our audience is this one guy, most likely named who's a friend of ours who listens, Adam's mom, and Bram. And that's it. That's our audience.
If you made it shorter, do you think more people would listen in?
Podcasts tend to be
they tend to be long.
An hour. I think that often people put on podcasts to kind of almost listen to a conversation while they're doing something else. Like I know that that's how Tamara uses them, and I've done that once or twice before as well. So I think people often don't mind it being long. In fact, they'd probably prefer for it to be too long rather than too short.
Too short, yeah. I have a podcast I listen to that's 30 minutes, and I'm always like, just 30 more minutes, because they put ads in it, so it's really like an 18-minute podcast.
So it's like daytime TV.
Pretty much. All the worst parts of it. But who's our audience? Our parents, our friends, if they like us. I don't know.
Eventually, I think if we were popular and really worked on our marketing, I think we could reach like people our age, just in general.
That was the goal. That's why we restarted this up again. I was gonna say that would have been another great cold opener, RIP. But yeah, no. So we're still finding that opening. I guess we'll just talk, and then if we find an awkward pause, then we'll jump in with the intro.
I personally think that the best cold opening would be, what is your audience, and the silence that succeeded that. So I think we can go right into introducing our guests.
All right, so
I didn't mean to do that to you guys.
No, that was perfect.
It's really funny.
I'm gonna.
It's so funny.
Okay, so I'm gonna pause right now. This is a note for editing tomorrow. I'm gonna cut it off after that pause, and then in a second, Adam, do you want to say hello? Welcome to our podcast, sucks. Just really quickly, and then we'll just jump into the episode, and I'll introduce my dad. I'll just cut all of this middle talk out. So it'll be cold hard opening. Yeah, it'll just be cold hard opening. Hello, welcome to our podcast, sucks. We're just jumping into the episode because that was really, truly brilliant.
That was really
funny. It was a great cold opening.
Thank you so much, Stephen. That was actually
I feel terrible now.
No, it's so good. It really is.
That's our podcast name is called Our Podcast Sucks.
Yeah, self-deprecating humor is what we're about. It's what we do here.
That's the brand. All right, Adam.
Anyway, welcome to our podcast.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much.
And today we have a very special guest joining us. It is Stephen Abrams, renowned,
also known as my dad.
Yes, dentist extraordinaire.
I was gonna say, shouldn't dad be his most important thing?
Dad extraordinaire.
Dad extraordinaire, who does other things in people's mouths.
Mm-hmm. That doesn't sound really good.
That came out really wrong. There's the we were talking earlier about how I usually say something in each episode. That's really bad. And there it was, no less than a minute in.
I'm so sorry. Oh boy. It's up to you if you want to keep that one in. I'm not even commenting.
I'm keeping it in. I think it's great. It'll be the new 9/11 joke. Anyways.
Why?
Every episode it gets a shout out. But yeah, no, we do have a special guest here today, and he's probably very horrified. It's my dad. Hi.
Hi. No, I'm not horrified.
I was gonna say you helped form my horrible sense of humor, so I would hope at least that you could appreciate it.
This is true. So I'm partially responsible for this.
Partially.
Be that as it may, I think it's only fair to allow you, if you wanted to say a couple things about yourself first, Stephen.
Yeah.
Well, I think the most important thing on this podcast, and the only reason that I'm here, is because of my relationship to Tamara. I'm her dad.
Here we go. We're hyping it up.
And through Tamara, I had a chance to meet Adam, who's been over to our house for a couple of meals. And
A couple of
meals.
lovely meals, shall I say.
Yeah, and long ones, including our last virtual meal, which for Adam was not virtual.
Yeah.
I'm so happy I was at Passover.
Yeah, he was there over our place for Passover, and it was the first time we had a virtual meal, which was really interesting.
Really, yeah.
Because we've never had a virtual meal before. And we've done that actually since then with some of our friends who've been staying home alone or whatever. And it's an interesting way to interact with people.
I think it works really, really well. It certainly worked for me very well.
Well, you know what was really interesting about it was when you think about a phone call, you can get up, walk around, you can be dressed in whatever you're dressed in, and nobody knows. And you could actually be lying on a bed with your eyes closed, just kind of going yes at the appropriate times. But as soon as you put the video in, then it's a whole different relationship. Didn't you find that? It was like
I did, yeah. I did find that, yeah.
And then we've done some other meals since then, and somebody says, well, I'm going to log off now that we're going to have dinner. It's like, no, let's have dinner together.
It's very cute. We've done that a few times.
But isn't it? It's so bizarre because you're thinking about having dinner, but then you're not. Then the other thing that's really bad is that we had joy with our technology logging in here is that everybody has their computer camera aimed at anything but their face, right?
Yeah.
And so it's really tough. Actually, I just did a serious Zoom meeting last Friday with Canadian Dental Association. Even there, I thought I had my camera aimed properly, and as I was being interviewed, they said, no, let's just start again because you got it with too wide a background, looking at your forehead. And I realized that one of the things we have to do with technologies is get the video part set in such a way that you actually get a nice background. So I'm getting better at that.
Yeah, I mean, I had some practice with that when in the good old days of yore, when I dabbled in YouTube, trying to find decent backgrounds and good lighting and good angles, and like I long since abandoned computer cameras. Like thanks Dad, you ended up buying me a wonderful camera that I used, and now like having to go back to Zoom we were talking about our Seder earlier. I was the lighting technician on hand, so I was the one who set up all of these floor lamps and like tried to balance the computer angle so that they could see everyone, and it was a quite a time. But yeah,
it's really interesting. So now we've been doing virtual services, and so if you're standing up and sitting down and there are about 30 or 40 people gathered, it's very funny because they're sitting there, and then when they have to stand up at various points in these religious services, you're not looking at their faces anymore.
You're just seeing their tummies.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And if you have the clergy there, you have to hope that the clergy actually have everything all set up properly.
Get some and then you get real intimate with your clergy.
No.
It's number 2.
Oh my God, what?
So it's, but I really think what I've learned from this experience is that the visual is really important. And I think that right now, what I'm finding here is that it's really important to add the visual in, especially in this time of the COVID pandemic. People really, really do need that.
Yeah, I've definitely heard from some people, even our age, who just say that, like, actually, come to think of it, a lot of people my age say, like, oh, well, I mean, I've been on video calls, so it's been sort of like hanging out, or I've been on Discord servers with people, but my parents are actually the ones who are complaining the most because they're saying, well, it's not the same. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
feel the same. It doesn't really satisfy my need for social interaction, because it always feels like, even with the video, we're engaged, we're sitting down, we're having a conversation. It
Mm-hmm.
still doesn't feel like just sitting in a room together and chatting. And there's a number of reasons for that, but it is interesting how different people, I guess, receive this new way of communicating, of socializing.
Hmm.
Well, it also lets you know more about us as human beings,
Mm-hmm.
because what it tells you is that this finally lets us know the importance of visual contact. And for most people, we really don't get that. And I think that this is really what this whole disease has taught me a couple things. And the first thing it's taught me is this whole concept of the importance of visual contact. And then when you move into the healthcare sphere, and we've been talking about this on various different Facebook groups, and the guys have been typing, you look at now what I have to get dressed in when our office reopens, and I have to wear a full face shield. And
Oh,
I'm
wow.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm wearing a full face shield. I'm in a disposable gown and gloves, and I can't touch my patients. And we've been grappling with, this is really crazy, because for me, I would say at this point in my career, about 30% of my appointments will end with a hug.
Yeah.
Mm.
And some of the patients that have contacted me that need urgent care, it's like when they come in, we can't do that anymore. And you sort of, it's sort of strange that now that COVID has this barrier, our contact is visual or chatting on a phone. And if I go to do something, I can't touch anybody. Like I can't tap them on the shoulder to make sure they're okay.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
assume it would also make people a lot more nervous too, because
Oh yeah.
normally they're used to you just showing up in your very fashionable purple scrubs and just a mask, like just your regular surgical mask. But
Oh,
now, like, you're gonna have to be in full, essentially like surgery regalia,
yeah. Well, worse than surgery regalia,
because
because
you have a face
you're
shield.
face shield. You
Yeah,
got a face
Mm.
shield and all this stuff. Like I keep thinking, what's going to happen when a kid comes in?
they're gonna be terrified. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
if especially if you have a new kid, a new sort of patient, and you're just gonna look like the Terminator to
Yeah.
them.
yeah, it's like I think about this. We've been thinking about, because we're at the point now where we're beginning to think about coming back into practice, and our regulatory body is now starting to draft guidelines on what we do and how it will look. And I look at it going, oh my God, if I got some little ones, man, oh man, they'd be totally freaked out.
Yeah. I mean,
Mm.
you know what? I was gonna say we should try to lighten this up, but let's lean into this whole like talking about the pandemic right now, because we're giving our audience a special look into the mind of a healthcare practitioner,
Well,
and then we'll get lighthearted in a bit.
yeah, but I think step back for a second, because this is what's been going through my head the last couple of days, is that if you think about this, we have to find a whole new way of interacting. It's when you go out for a walk on the street now, right?
You're just
And you
avoiding people,
That's
essentially.
right. And like, let's say, so, if you're a family, so the family all lives in one place, but let's say you want to go out and walk with your friend. How do you walk with your friend? They walk 6 feet away. I mean, is that what the new norm is going to be?
I don't know. And that's I think the biggest thing that's at least I can speak personally for sure. What's sort of been upsetting me, or not upsetting, but partially upsetting, but what I've found hard to grapple with is just the fact that, things are going to change. And that, how long these changes are going to stay in place for is another question in of itself. But I think it's the uncertainty that really is like keeping me up at night, literally keeping me up at night, being like, are these changes going to stick? Can we ever go back to what we knew before? And like, will it ever be the same? Are we all ever going to be like, how will this change the world, but even on like a smaller scale, every individual person, because we've all been touched by this in different ways.
Well, the way people are looking at this now is they're looking at this as a sort of a staged approach, so to speak. So in this staged approach, are you are we all going to be distanced like this forever, or will we ever get back to being human beings? Because this really has taught me about how we as human beings interact with each other.
And what do we need to feel like complete? Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's just really, it comes back to another story I was thinking about. So this is 2 days ago, it comes back to my patients, which I think about so a fair bit. And I got a call, it's not my patient, but one of the patients in the group, I got a call from mom. And oh my God, she's saying, my kids, I need to get my kid in because I need to have his bite splint adjusted. And we talked for a minute or two, and I said, how old is your son? Well, he's in his 20s. I said, okay. And is he sleeping through the night? Well, she says he wakes up in the morning with a really sore jaw and it's sore in front of his ears. And I said, okay, how old is he? And he's your generation, guys, right?
Yeah.
And he's kind of lost. He's not finished up school yet. He hasn't gotten into university. And I said, and right now, is he seeing his friends? She says, no, thankfully he's at home. What time does he go to bed? 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Does he sleep well? I'm not sure. What does he do before he goes to bed? Well, he's getting some help by watching YouTube videos. And now I'm looking at a train wreck, right?
Yeah. I was going to say that sounds kind of like what we've been doing.
Yeah, but so this is what I was thinking. So now what I've got here is a kid he's not a kid, he's a young person who's really having a tough time. The mom has called me, and I'm now got to figure out how to get the mom to understand it. It's not his bite splint that's hurting him, but he's hurting himself, and he needs to sit down and talk to somebody and get off. So I said, what are the things he's looking at? Well, he's using some melatonin, he's using this, he's using that. I'm getting this list, and I'm thinking, you know what? We need to step back for a second, because I think he's lost what his body is telling him is that he's stressed because he doesn't have the human contact, and because the other things in his life aren't really going well. Now he really feels trapped.
Yeah. I know, and I think the biggest thing that this whole thing has taught me, and I think this definitely can apply to the story, is that, for a lot of people, there's this predominant sort of like narrative kind of going around where it's like, oh, extroverts are being hit the hardest, introverts are totally fine because this is what we're used to, whatever. And it's important to make sure that everybody has a sense of community, that they feel belonging to something at this point, whether it's they're part of a YouTuber's fan group, whether they're, part of a Discord server or like a Zoom group that's for praying, or like a Zoom group of their friends, or they just need some form of community that they can be part of and just interact with people. And I think, on our end, we've talked about this in the last episode too, and we mentioned it earlier, but like, it got to a point where like I was talking to Bram and he was having a really rough day. So one day I decided, you know what, let's just get all of us close, like Stratford friends together, and a couple of Guelph ones, including Adam, and let's make a Discord server. Let's watch a movie together. And once that was kind of cemented, and once we added people and we made like a cute little icon for it, and like we watched our first movie all together, from that point forward, a lot of the social side of the pandemic was way easier for me. And it has not felt really isolated whatsoever, because I know at any point during the day, I have a community that I can join. And it's great to see that, like, it's not just this one Discord server that I made, but a bunch of my other friends have been doing that too. And it's like, there's these communities that we're all part of, and we're finding ways to connect. And that's been the big thing.
That's the key thing. That's what this has taught me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that this sort of goes to show that, like, or at least in this kind of situation, that the important thing is like to kind of deal with the fact that you feel isolated, but make sure that you don't feel alone.
Yeah.
Because there's no evading the fact that we're isolated. Obviously, we're physically isolated, but I think the worst feeling is feeling completely alone.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between the two.
But this has shown me really the importance of human contact, and really what it means for human beings, and what its impact is. And then the next question becomes, what happens to those that don't have that human contact?
Yeah,
because that's kind of hard. Like, the best ways to do that is to find a community that either you create yourself or you have interest in or that you want to be part of, because you can't like force someone to,
True, but let's think about this for a second though, because this is really a critical thing. Finding that community is difficult. And then how do you share in that community? And then, which generation is involved in that? So let's say you're 85 years old and living in a nursing home. That's a whole different piece, right?
Yeah.
And then if you're 5 years old, who are you going to connect with?
Yeah, well, I think that's where this is a good lead-in. This kind of brings us into sort of what we wanted to ask you about, is that, media is a great way to connect with people, whether you're finding ways to, like, join a community based on common interests, or, you're joining a community that's surrounded around a content creator or something. Just to avoid keeping this completely about Corona, not that it's not important to discuss, but we do have a 3-page Google Doc of questions that people have submitted that they want to pick your brain about.
Yeah, we got a lot to get through.
Yeah, so I guess last couple Corona questions.
Sure.
Couple of ones, and I'll end it off on a positive note. What is something that you miss doing?
Me?
If you had to pick one thing.
Getting out and seeing people, going for a walk and seeing people, going for a walk in downtown Toronto, to see people, going out to a restaurant.
Just that kind of just going out in a social manner is what it sounds
people.
like.
Yeah, with people. I mean, I miss that. I miss my clinical practice and seeing my patients. But so it's those two things that I really miss.
Yeah. Okay, so say everything, there was a chance that everything could just go back to normal tomorrow. What would be the first thing you would want to do?
Go out for a walk.
Yeah, and not avoid people.
And go to a museum.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
and
I'd like to stick me in the art gallery, man. Tamara, would you not agree?
I would agree. Actually, my first thing I would do is I want to go out. I want to go walk around. I want to go shopping, not on my computer, and not have to like window shopping. Like just go and like peruse around, be around people, and then go out for dinner. That would be ideal. I miss that so much.
But Saturday we were supposed to go to see Hamilton.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, sad.
That's too bad.
And I was supposed to start work in like 2 days.
Yeah.
So that, if you say, I'm that I miss.
Yeah.
It's funny because we were looking today, we were sitting down for lunch. And so what I've done now is I've brought one of the monitors into our dining room, and sometimes we'll watch a YouTube video. Sometimes we'll do virtual. And today I put up pictures of one of our trips. The PowerPoint.
Heard.
So
awesome. Mom told me.
Yeah, so we were looking at the trip because it was a nice way to do stuff.
My favorite anecdote, you probably remember this, because Mom, I cheated. I talked to Mom earlier today to see what you guys did today, if there were any good stories to bug you about. And she said that while you were watching the video for, I assume 90% of the people watching this are friends at this point, but like I have bangs and they look pretty fabulous 90% of the time, but there was a dark period of my life before I learned what a hair straightener was, and let's just say this trip, the pictures you were looking at fell into that period. And so I was talking on the phone to Mom, and Mom goes, yeah, your dad said the funniest thing today. He goes, what was wrong with Tamara's hair? It just looks really bad. And I knew exactly what trip. I'm like, were you looking at Copenhagen? And she's like, we were looking at Copenhagen. I'm like, oh God, yep, that was rough.
Yeah, they weren't straight.
I know, it's because I didn't have a hair straightener yet. I didn't know, by like, oh God, I'm trying to think of what trip it was. By the time I was like 13, I had a hair straightener. This was before that. This was 12. I was 12 years old. It was very rough.
Yeah, so it was just in the age where you were trying to pull off the Demi Lovato and just couldn't get it quite right, eh?
It was in the age of puberty had hit, and my hair because my hair used to be pin straight. Like I didn't need to do anything to it. Then puberty hit, and then it was just, it was really bad. I don't even think I have photos on my computer. I was going to send you a photo out, and I don't have copies of these pictures because it is a hair moment in my life I would like to forget.
But there's a great
Bad
picture.
hair year.
Oh no, hold on a
It's
second.
so
There's
bad.
a great picture of you from the back following remember the guys were doing the changing of the guard in front of the
Oh
palace?
yeah, that's a good one.
So we could share that with Adam because the hair was straight in the back.
Yeah, the hair was straight in the back. Just don't look at the front. Just don't look
That's
at
right.
the front.
Just yeah,
Now, just to be fair, you should see my hair now.
Oh, it's quite the afro right now.
It's not even afro. It's wild. It's totally wild. So I mean,
is it like Einstein wild?
no, Einstein stood up. Mine is not standing up.
Yours is just out.
Mine is just like all over the place. It looks like it got stuck in the wind.
Yeah. So
I'm wearing a man tail right now, which is the first time in my life I've ever done something like that because the hair growing right above my face is just turning me into like one of those like British guards who just can't see anything in front of them.
Oh no!
Like with the fuzzy hats. So yeah, man tail. First time I've ever had to do it. My mom gave me scrunchies.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I cut my own hair, so I've been fine. I gave myself a trim the other day. My grandfather said my hair looked great, so that's how I know because Zadie doesn't lie.
Well, it's really funny because I was hoping there wasn't going to be a video component to it because this is kind of scary.
Yeah, it's a good thing Zoom can only record one thing very well.
Well, and also good thing that the podcast is this kind of is a format that is entirely audio only because my dress code for these has often been sweatpants and a hoodie.
I hold on a second here, guys. I'm wearing my tuxedo.
Well,
oh goodness, what tuxedo, Dad? There's a couple that we should be wary about. Oh God. Do you want to elaborate, or are we just gonna leave it at that?
What are you talking about? I have like a nice tuxedo.
Okay, there we go. As long as
this is the first time in my life that I felt underdressed without seeing another person. This is a very unique feeling.
Well, oh my gosh, you know what really freaks me out is I have to give a lecture for Temple University in June, and I'm sort of ready, but it's virtual.
You need a pointer stick and a whiteboard.
No, I just need something to black out my face.
Oh no! I'll do your makeup. It'll be great. It'll be great.
But it's really nice. These guys have been really good to me. So, well, you should see the interview I did for the Canadian Dental Association. I look a little bit. I'll send you the link once it's done. I think you're just uploading it now.
We'll post the link in the show notes.
I look a little bit wild.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I mean, if your hair gets long enough in June, maybe you can do a man bun with it.
Oh,
yeah,
that'll solve the problem.
You'll be chic and stylish.
Yeah. So, but that's the part that scares me is what I'm going to look like. And the other part is that I'm not going to be able to see anybody's face. When I was down at Temple last year, they were really sweet. They invited me down last year. So I gave 2 lectures to their students. But it was great because you could look at the audience to see whether or not anybody was like alive or dead, or listening, right? Or sleeping. And
you can get some feedback from your audience.
Well, you could see their facial features. And it was really funny because I was talking to a couple of the students before it started. Then during the lecture, I would look over there, a couple of them, and I spoke with them afterwards, and they could say, yeah, I knew you guys were looking at us. I said, well, this is the way I could sort of gauge how I was doing and whether it was making sense because I don't have a script. I put up a slide, and that just gets my brain off on a tangent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know what you can do, Dad? I give you full permission. I have all of my Webkins in my bedroom. There's about 21 of them. Yeah. Feel free to take them, line them up on the table, and just give a lecture to my Webkins. Lord knows there are enough to make a small classroom size.
Yeah, they would be as receptive as the students.
Yeah, exactly. No, so you just get Mom there, and then you get all the Webkins, and you see who falls asleep first.
Oh, now hold on. There's a classic story we have to share with Adam. It's a classic story. So when I started doing this stuff years ago, I wasn't lecturing, but I was doing stuff with the Dental Association. I had to do whenever I would do a news conference or presentation, I would get the script ready or the Dental Association would send it to me. And I go in to see Mom and I do the presentation. And I knew that it was successful if she fell asleep in the middle. She, and there was one press conference we did down at the Dental Association, and she fell asleep in the middle. And then she woke up and asked 3 questions, which are really good questions. And so I'm all ready to go because the Dental Association didn't send me questions. And the next morning I go down to the Dental Association, I do my thing, and then they asked the 3 questions. They said, "Wow, you're really well prepared because you know how to answer them." I said, "Well, let me tell you about my wife."
Yeah.
I ran this by my wife, so you know.
Yeah, she fell asleep.
She fell asleep. Yeah. It's now the pattern. She falls asleep, like anytime if like my dad or I do a presentation for my mom, if she falls asleep, you know it's good. If she stays awake, you know something's
you're
wrong.
Screwed. You're totally
completely screwed.
What a litmus test.
It's a total.
It's really funny. She's done that with me too. She stayed awake once during one of my presentations and I almost cried. I was like, "How dare you stay awake?" And it wasn't a good presentation.
Oh boy, I just love this idea of Steven speaking to people from the Dental Association, just being like, "Hey man, really nice presentation," and essentially your answer, Steven, being, "Thanks, my wife fell asleep when I gave it to her yesterday."
Yeah,
that's that. They laughed, and then we went out and did the news conference, and they actually for the news conference it wasn't bad because the questions weren't that tough. But this comes back to the where we opened. I really am really stuck on this theme is that the human contact, the need to see faces is really important as part of human interrelationships. And I think COVID-19 has really driven that home to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really feels like it's become essential, like it's a human need to see other people, which is weird when you think about it.
But I think it was always essential, but I think we're now understanding that it is essential.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. No, I think it was always essential. Like I think we evolved that way as
We're social animals.
as a
we're
social
animals,
species.
that's right.
But I think this 100% puts an accent on it, and some people who may not have really realized it are now thinking like, "Oh my gosh, I need to see other people
You need to see
survive."
other people. Yeah, and as I said, this has really got me thinking about. Well, it brings me down the road to everybody's talking about telemedicine, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to call in and give you all my symptoms. And I keep saying, you can't give anybody symptoms because you need to see the human being.
Yeah.
I have a story. I always have stories. I have another story to tell you. So I have a story. And one of my patients, a dear, dear man, I really have known for many, many years, right? And this is going to be a problem too. So I always like to go out to my reception area and bring my patients in to see me. And I do that, number one, because the reception area is neutral zone.
Yeah.
And so that they're not frightened. And I get a chance to talk to everybody. It's like going out into your living room and visiting with your friends, which I won't be able to do anymore because you're not allowed into my living room with COVID-19, only one person in, all this nonsense. Anyways, I go out into my living room, my waiting room, and there's this nice man sitting there. And I look at him, he's looking not bad, but not as well dressed as he used to be. And I look at his pants, and he's got food stains on his pants.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, that's interesting. He's never done that. So I say, come on, tell me what your problem is. So he comes into my dental room and he sits down and he says, you know what? It was a slippery day yesterday. I was walking at Queen's Park and I slipped and fell and I broke my front tooth. I said, okay. And then I was thinking, this doesn't make sense. He's got food stains on his pants. Yeah, it was slippery. So I said, show me your hands. And he doesn't have any bruising on his hands. So then I said to him, did you slip and fall or did you black out? No, I didn't black out. I said, I think you did. He said, no, I didn't. So I said, yes, you did. You had a cardiac event. No, I didn't. I said, so here's the deal. I will fix your front tooth if you go to see your family doc. If you don't, I'm not fixing it. Mm-hmm. So I went ahead and repaired it. He'd had a TIA.
Oh, Jesus. And you were able to catch that just from the clues.
Well, the clues were food on his pants and a guy that's well-dressed. His gait's okay. I look at him and he's got no bruises on his hands. When you fall, what's the first thing that hits the ground?
Your hands.
It's the hands, yeah.
And he's got bruising around his mouth. So he always says the best thing that ever happened to him was that because I kept him living for another 10 years. He had it. So it comes back to the reason for sharing this story is it comes back to the importance of using everything to assess the person that's coming in to see you. And when you go out to see your friends, don't you get worried when one of your friends shows up and he looks like a little wiped out, hasn't
for
changed
sure.
his
Yeah.
How can you tell that if you're doing this?
You can't.
So interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely is. So I think the biggest thing that's now been sort of coming from our conversation so far is sort of seeing how different people and different people, different professions, and at this point different generations, are dealing with the pandemic. So if you have any advice I had a question from a friend actually that he asked me earlier today. And it was just, how do you stay calm? What would you give advice to a young person? What would you say to someone who's your age? Like, run with it. Let's hear. I'm curious to know what you want to say to our audience.
That is the hugest challenge going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A totally huge challenge, because this is a different time than I think we've ever had before. Because before, if you needed to stay calm, you'd go and visit with a friend. You go out for dinner. You go out in a park and see a whole pile of people around. Can you imagine, oh, geez, I'm really feeling nervous and upset now because X didn't happen. Let me go for a walk alone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So I think that what you have to do then is to say, well, going for a walk alone, wow, there's a nice blue sky, or the clouds look beautiful, or it's quiet. I'm going to listen to some music. Not a podcast, but music.
Ooh, that's a dig at podcasts there.
No, it's not a dig at it's not a dig at podcast, because what you're trying to do is not to get your brain thinking, but to get your brain relaxed.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because a podcast is good, and then once you've sort of gotten settled down, the podcast will get you oriented with where you want to go. So yeah, everybody must, I know people, and even myself, I get up in the morning, it's like, oh my God, I've got all this stuff to do, or here are all the challenges. How am I going to make it all work? And then, you realize that there are a lot of things you have no control over. Absolutely none.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have no control over them, then the next question that you ask yourself when you wake up in the morning is, okay, what do I have control over? Well, I have control over, you've got your shopping list, X, Y, Z, Q. Okay, then which one of those things are you going to take care of today? I'm going to take care of this. And in the middle of the day, if you get a call from somebody who's like whatever, they're in the same boat that you are. So the first thing you got to do is, today, who was I dealing with today? The landlord at my office called today, because they're having a rent program, and they were slow to get back to us. Well, why were they slow to get back to us? I guess they were swamped. And she was calling to apologize. And I said, there's no need to apologize. I said, I'm a tenant of yours, and you guys, I've been tenants of this plaza for 40 years. So I appreciate what you're doing for me. She said, oh, that's great. Now there's a whole different conversation. Well, we've got this program. You've sent us the information. You qualify for the program. I'll get back to you later. I said, great. So instead of starting off on this whole thing about, geez, she must have had a shitty day too. So I've got to, I was going to call her and say, why didn't you get back to me? But she called me. Oh, okay. That's why she called me, because she was swamped.
Yeah.
So you stay kind of kind in those scenarios, and it sounds like a good part of it as well is not focusing a whole lot on essentially the stuff that you can't control, even though it's specifically the stuff that will most often make you relaxed. It's just kind of keeping in touch with the stuff that you can do.
That's right. Yeah. And the stuff that you can do, and then realize that, like, right now, everybody is under the same amount of stress. And the other thing, too, is I sort of keep in my head a list of projects. And my God, I haven't got, the big one is I got to clean my office out, which is like.
You're attempting that. I never thought I would live to see the day. Oh, my God.
But I just haven't had time, because every time I sit down, there's another new thing that crops up. But that's the whole idea.
It's nice to know. It's honestly, like, in a weird, backwards, almost way of thinking about it, it's nice to know that, like, everyone is just as stressed out and swamped as, like, you are, and everyone's having the same troubles. We're all feeling this crushing sort of anxiety.
We're all in the community of people who feel like the world is falling apart.
We're all in this together, for better or for worse.
Same sinking ship.
Exactly. It's kind of.
Well, hold on.
Nice.
I don't know if it's a sinking ship. I think but I think that that's really important. I think that what we have to do is we have to sit down now, all of us, as a community and begin to think about how do we deal with this and how do we prevent this from getting worse, and not just rely upon our leadership to say, oh, let's do this and do that, but to begin to think about how we want to change things and make things different and keep all of us healthy. Because I don't think anybody has the right answer. I think that collectively we'll come up with something.
Yeah.
So we kind of need to come together,
Yeah.
for lack of a better.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't say, well, geez, I'm going to rely upon, Dr. X or Dr. Y because they happen to know better. I don't know if they really do.
Yeah. The one good thing that I've heard that has come from this is like people are able to sit back and like work on themselves, and people are able to sort of take the time and work on the things, or at least want to work on the things that they've been meaning to do for so long. And like take this time where kind of the world is sort of paused in a weird way, and figure out, like, take the time and be like, okay, I want to do this. Like for me, it was I want to get back into podcasting. I want to get back into doing all of my creative projects. I want to work on my thesis ideas. Like, it's kind of nice where everything's sort of paused and you can sort of be like, okay, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what tomorrow is going to be like, but today I'm going to get up in the morning. I'm going to pick a sweat outfit because I've now learned that having multiple pairs of sweatpants is actually a good thing. And get dressed and then sit at my computer and do something, or like play Animal Crossing and do something, like, or at least try to find a way to make every day sort of different.
I've sort of found a similar thing where definitely a lot of my day tends to be some form of video games, because I mean that was my primary hobby anyway. And the way that I think I've coped with it is it's given me the time to start setting goals for myself, for self-improvement that I've just always been putting off, because it's like, oh, I don't have the energy for this right now because I'm too exhausted from working on school. I'm just gonna put on a movie and put on sweatpants, eat a whole bag of chips, and go to sleep. So now I'm working out relatively consistently. I'm learning to play piano. I'm building model kits that I've been sitting on for like, I think a year.
That's awesome.
So
That's cool. That's good.
And you're taking care of yourself emotionally too.
For sure. In a number of ways.
Another great way to take care of ourselves emotionally is to take a deep dive into learning more about ourselves. This is a wonderful harsh transition. So to not end the podcast on a gloomy note, Dad, do you know what Buzzfeed is?
Buzzfeed, I've heard of it. Tell me a bit more.
Okay, so it's this horrible website. It's not horrible.
Horrid.
It's just really trashy.
Terrible.
And they are known for having some of the worst user-generated quizzes that are just pure awful in the history of online personality quizzes. And it's kind of like they've gained now when you say you don't say online personality quizzes, you say BuzzFeed quizzes, and people of our generation and younger know what that is. So we have gathered some, and would you take some BuzzFeed quizzes with us on our journey to self-improvement?
Oh, do I get continuing education credits from my licensing body for this?
You can tell them that you are going to figure out what decade you're from based on the cheesecake you're going to make.
That you're going to make, yes.
The cheesecake I'm going to make?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. The cheesecake you're going to make. So if you
will open up that quiz. You're going to build your own cheesecake.
Okay, so hold it. All right, so there's you just sent me a link here to a BuzzFeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're gonna talk about our thought process as we go through this in the spirit of in the convivial spirit of self-improvement. We'll start with question 1. Let me know when you have it pulled up.
Yeah, I do. All right. So what cheesecake do you want to make?
Well, so I'm personally a Japanese cheesecake type of gal. Adam, I assume you're going to go with the same thing.
You'd be wrong. And
are you in New York?
I'm in New York. I really, you know what? I still very fondly remember my trip to the Cheesecake Factory, and I really like my rich, creamy, very, very tasteful New York style cheesecake. So
this would murder a lactose intolerant person cheesecake.
And luckily I am not that.
There we go.
New York style is what I'm going with.
All right, Dad, what did you select?
Well, you know what? I've never really figured out whether I'm traditional or New York style. What's the difference between the two of them?
I have no goddamn clue.
I'm not 100%
I
sure.
think just assume Cheesecake Factory is like New York style, and traditional would be something that's not.
So I'm going with
Gut-wrenching.
traditional then.
Okay, so next
crust.
question.
Oh my God.
What's
Ooh.
Oh,
this is
All
hard.
All of them, please.
Yeah.
no, it's either brownie or chocolate cookie crumble.
Ooh, I'm so down for brownie. I think I'm going to do brownie here.
Okay, I'm going to do brownie. No, I'm going to do chocolate cookie crumble because I want to be different than you.
I'm going to go for graham cracker because I've learned recently, Bram has taught me to enjoy and appreciate stuff that, you know, is a little less sweet. Also, for anyone who is listening, we'll have all of the quizzes we did linked in the show notes too. So you can take these along with us.
And
right.
Your favorite filling. Whoa.
Mm.
Okay, lemon, salted caramel, peanut butter, coffee.
The main flavor. So
the main flavor.
Okay, I know mine. Adam or Dad, can you guess what mine's gonna be? Because there's
Matcha?
one very yeah. Of course. Of course. Dad, I guess you're gonna either pick peanut butter, coffee, or salted caramel.
Chocolate.
You did chocolate.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like a dad daughter.
Well, no, I'm gonna do peanut butter because you thought that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna do peanut butter.
I thought you were a peanut butter man. And Adam, what's yours?
This is a really tough question. I'm torn between peanut butter, chocolate, salted caramel, coffee, and vanilla. But I think I'm gonna go with salted caramel because I've had quite a couple good cheesecakes with salted caramel.
Now I'm gonna change mine because it's the main flavor of your filling. So if it's peanut butter, I don't think blueberry will go well with it. So
that's true.
I'm going with vanilla because then the next question is pick your favorite topping, and it's either blueberry or raspberry.
Ooh, those were mine because I feel like rainbow sprinkles is kind of weird on a cheesecake.
No, I got blueberry.
I'm blueberry too. Adam?
I'm dark chocolate shavings because I think that goes quite well with caramel.
All right, and our second topping.
Oh, because I had vanilla, then I'm going to pick milk chocolate.
I think I'm going to do, I don't know, what goes well with blueberries and matcha? I think I'm going to go full fruit. Let's just do this fruity. Okay. Adam?
I might throw, I'm not usually one for this, but now that I'm imagining the flavor profile, I might throw candied pecans.
Ooh, that would be fun and exciting.
Yeah, go right a little on the wild side.
Ooh, and our final touches to our cheesecake. Oh my God.
Oh, whipped cream.
I like that. That's classic.
That's good.
Oh,
right.
God.
What did you get?
Oh, well, what do you think?
1970s.
No, you got it. You belong to the 50s.
Oh!
Oh. Well, then you're exactly who you're meant to be.
Aw, Adam, what did you get?
I got You Belong in the 80s. You're destined for the days of Tetris, shoulder pads, and synth pop. And your love of bright flavors will serve you well. What are you waiting for? Pack your bags and set your time machine to the 80s.
Oh my God, I got You Belong in the Future.
Whoa.
Well, that's surprising. You're destined to explore the unknown and break ground on new planets. Maybe you'll even discover new foods along the way. All right, so next up, we are going to do what part of the U.S. should you live in? If money was no object, would you travel all the time?
Okay, if money was, would you travel all the time?
I would. That would, like, if money was no object and I could travel for work, heck yeah.
I wouldn't know if I travel all the time. I'd go on a lot of nice vacations.
All right, and Adam?
I think I'm somewhere between that and the idea of like maybe sometimes because, I think I would lean towards because I don't hate flying or driving long distances. I actually find that really enjoyable. I don't know. I just don't think I would travel all that often. I think I might get bored. But
really?
Sure, I'd definitely go on a lot of nice vacations for sure.
All right, question number 2. How often do you bathe or shower?
How do you bathe?
I did at least once a day.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Would you get romantically involved with someone who was content with a low-paying job and had no career goals? I'm going to say yes, but I'd encourage them to be more ambitious.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards that. Yeah, I'd encourage them to be more ambitious, but I don't think I would hold it against them.
Yeah, how about you, Dad?
It's interesting because someone who is content with a low-paying job and no career goals, I would drive them crazy.
Yeah, you kind of would. You're a little bit ambitious.
So I'd say it depends on It depends, but it's kind of a turn off. I wouldn't say absolutely not.
All right. And how important is religion in your life?
Like to number 2.
Yeah, so the second one is, I believe in God and religion is important to me, but I don't regularly attend religious services. Guys, this is a really deep BuzzFeed quiz.
Yeah, this one's...
Normally they're a lot more trashy. Jeez.
Yeah.
How do you feel about marijuana?
Oh boy. I'm pro weed, but I'm pretty chill about it, I think I would say.
Yeah, these are just putting that out there. I guess you have to put a disclaimer. These are generated answers that we're just reading off right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I've seen some of the bad stuff with this, so I'd say I'm against it.
Are you I don't care, or you are very against it?
I'm very against it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I am right now because of the fact that I think that one has to take a look at this as if one is looking at alcohol consumption.
They are almost comparable at this point.
They are what I've seen, they're comparable at this point, but yet we have to take a look at what happens to I've seen people who are very much addicted to this stuff, and it makes a mess, and so does alcohol, but in a different way.
Yeah. Another lighthearted question: how do you feel about swearing?
Where's that? How do you feel about swearing?
Which I was to say I swear all the fucking time, even when I know I shouldn't.
That is me as well. Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say I picked that up from Mom. Mom taught me how to swear. Thanks, Mom. It was mostly from her while she was driving. She would yell insults at people, and I picked up a colorful vocabulary.
I'm gonna put a avoid swearing, but I don't care if other people swear.
Yeah, you don't swear. Okay. When I would get in trouble as a kid, I knew if I was in trouble if you said "gee willikers" really angrily. Gee willikers, and Mom would be like, "Jesus fucking Christ, Tamara," but you would always say "gee willikers."
Oh, that's amazing.
That's when I knew I was in trouble. When mom laid on the swear words and you said "gee willikers," that's your word of choice.
Oh boy.
Would you get romantically involved with a single parent? Yes with some reservations, or probably not, or no.
I don't know.
If you were single again, back to your wild, rambunctious days, would you get involved with a single parent?
Some reservations.
Yeah, that's fair. I said that too. Adam?
Probably not. I think I'd really have to be like quite in love with them.
Yeah.
So probably not.
Easy question. Do you have a current passport?
Yeah.
All right. And how do you feel about camping?
It can be fun now and then. Not my ideal vacation. I'm very pampered and used to my good hotels.
I think we all are.
Oh, so guess what? You got West Coast.
Hey, me too.
Ooh, I got Northeast, and that's it. It doesn't tell us anything.
It shows West Coast, but it doesn't show the West Coast. It's like Texas is the middle of the bottom of it.
Yeah, I think it's like highlighted yellow a little bit to the west of it, but it's just not.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
But we're West Coast. We're West Coast guys.
Yeah.
Steven, woo!
Woohoo. All right, so next up, we have some really good ones. Next up, we're going to get into some pop culture stuff. And then we're going to start with one that I think you'll appreciate. It's, which Beatle are you?
Oh, we're going for the Beatles?
Serious.
Okay, so pick a Beatles B-side.
Right,
out of Old Brown Shoe, Rain, This Boy, and I Am the Walrus.
Ooh, there's an easy answer here, and it's
Cuckoo.
Yeah, exactly. Dad, what did you put?
It says, take our Which Beatle member are you quiz.
Keep scrolling.
Pick a Beatle, B-side, Old Brown Shoe, Rain, This Boy, I Am a Walrus. I like that one.
That's a good one. All right, which country would you want to visit? I would go to France. That'd be kind of fun. I haven't been in a long, long time.
France or the UK right now, I think I'd go France.
France, yeah. How about you, Adam?
I actually went for the UK because I've been to France, and but I've never been to the UK. So
there we go. All right, pick a Beatles movie to watch. Yellow Submarine, A Hard Day's Night. Yeah.
Yep.
I've got to say, I watched A Hard Day's Night, and not the biggest fan. I think I'm gonna pick Help.
I have not seen nor heard of any one of these being movies. The only Beatles movie that I knew of was Across the Universe.
So these are actual Beatles movies that the band, for some fun history, that they released. This was like, they were the original music videos, essentially. So they would release movies that would show, like, they'd make up some story, like for a hard day's night, it's essentially them traveling around, and then they sing their songs, and they just want a day off from work. Actually, I did like a hard day's night. Who am I kidding? I really liked it. It was most of I like the album a lot, so it was essentially just all the songs from that album, and they would just sing them and do. It was a music video, pretty much.
Huh. I'm gonna do Help then, because that's the song that I like the most.
There we go. All right, which one of these songs should have been a #1 single? Eleanor Rigby, Do You Want to Know a Secret, and I Love Her, or Strawberry Fields Forever?
Strawberry Fields Forever.
Strawberry Fields, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be different, and I'm going to do And I Love Her, because I really like that one. Pick a Beatles album that you love to listen to. Revolver, Sgt. Pepper's, Abbey Road, or the White Album?
Abbey Road.
Yeah, I'm a Revolver person.
I'm a Sgt. Pepper's.
Yeah, no one said the White Album. Which psychedelic pattern speaks to you? So we got some like cool tie-dye and some paisley, pretty much. That's it. It's paisley or tie-dye.
I like the bottom left-hand corner one.
Me too. That rainbow tie-dye. I like that one.
I like that.
I like the bottom right paisley.
Ooh.
It feels very them.
All right. Pick a non-George member of the Traveling Wilburys.
Who are the Traveling Wilburys?
So the Traveling Wilburys are essentially, they were a supergroup. They were an English-American supergroup with like Bob Dylan, George Harrison, Jeff Lynne, Roy Orbison, and Tom Petty. So essentially they're asked to like, pick who you like. Do you like Bob Dylan, Tom Petty, Lynne, Roy Orbison? I like Roy Orbison. I'm going to pick him.
I'll take Tom Petty, rather.
I'm going to do Bob Dylan.
Yeah? All right, who'd you get?
George Harrison.
Me too. You want to read out the description, Dad?
Like George, you tend to be a little shy and also introspective, but that doesn't mean you're not affectionate or outgoing under the right circumstances. You also feel most comfortable when you're just doing your own thing.
There you go. Adam, who'd you get?
I got John Lennon.
Ooh.
Yeah, like John, you're someone who can be a bit cynical and come across as uncaring, but it's actually the complete opposite. You're someone who cares deeply and is scared of exposing their emotions.
Ooh, again, see, we're doing some great deep dives. Thanks, Buzzfeed.
We're really learning a lot about ourselves here.
Yeah. All right, so the next one's also music themed. So make a playlist with songs from every decade and we'll reveal which high school clique you belong in.
Really?
Okay. Ooh. Okay.
All right, so pick a song from the 50s. Does everyone have it up?
Okay, I got it. Pick a song from the 50s. I like All Shook Up by Elvis.
All right, Adam, what did you pick?
I like that one too.
That's my favorite song from, I think, that era. I love it so much.
I think I'm debating between one of the two. I'm going to go with La Bamba as well too.
Yeah? Ooh, I'm going to do I Walk the Line by Johnny Cash.
Cool.
Oh, the 60s, My Girl. That's where I'm going.
I was going to say, that's mine. It's a pretty easy one there. Adam, which one's yours?
I'm actually going to hit Space Oddity by David Bowie. Great song.
There we go. And from the 70s, there's a very easy answer there. You Can Dance.
No, Don't Fear the Reaper.
Oh,
Happening.
really?
Yes. I love I need more cowbell on it.
All right, fine. Dad, which one are you picking?
I picked Dancing by Queen.
Dancing Queen. Yeah. There we go. That's what I picked too. It's a good one. All right, and a song from the 80s.
Ooh.
This is hard. They're all very good.
This is hard, yeah.
Beat It.
You're going to beat it? Adam, which one are you going to do?
I'm actually going to go for Tears for Fears. I really like their stuff.
Me too. That's what I'm picking. All right, and from the 90s.
Oh, wait, shit. I misread fucking Phil Collins. No, it's got to be Phil Collins.
It's got to be Phil Collins? I was going to say, that's like your favorite.
Yes.
All right.
The 90s.
From the 90s.
I can't find one that I really like. I don't even remember half these.
Yeah, I don't know these ones.
You don't want no Scrubs? Scrubs is a guy, can't get no love from me. Sitting on the passenger side.
I mean, I at least know who TLC is.
Or Karma Police? Not to be confused with Karma Chameleon.
No.
Doo-Wop That Thing by Lauryn Hill.
Yeah, it's a good song. I don't know it I can't sing it off the top of my head, but it's a very good one. You just pick whichever one you recognize the band. You know Nirvana, Dad, right?
Well, I picked Doo-Wop That Thing.
Okay, there you go. That's a good R&B song. All right, pick a song from the early 2000s. These are terrible. Oh no. Yeah. For reference, the options are The Sweet Escape, Beep, Umbrella, and Shake That. I'm going to go for Umbrella.
I'm going to hit Sweet Escape.
That's a good one. I think they played that at my bat mitzvah.
I'm doing Eminem.
You're doing Eminem?
I'm going to be that chaotic guy.
All right, and pick a song from the 2010s. Do you know any of these, Dad?
No.
Okay. I had a big Lorde phase in the 2010s, so I'm going to pick Royals because I liked that one a lot.
I'm going to hit Imagine Dragons because it was the one song that was on the radio all the time, and I still liked it.
It's an earworm.
Yeah, Radioactive is, yeah.
All right, Dad, which one?
Swimming pools. I've never heard that one. But.
That's okay. Kendrick Lamar is very talented. You're very hip. All right, from 2020. I don't know any of these songs. Like,
I do not know them
straight up. I don't know any of them. I know who everyone is, like all the artists.
I have no idea who Dua Lipa is.
She did the wait.
Oh, don't you know her? She's the one that did the other one was called "Break My Left Arm."
Hey. she's Duolingo.
Good one.
You didn't know her? She did that. That's a really cool one. That was the B-side to "Break My Heart."
It was "Break My Left Arm."
I don't know. I mean, I'm more of a fan of her later work. "Break My Right Leg."
Oh.
Oh, you were so good because there was a pause there for a minute as you were trying to process that.
Yeah, it took me a second. I was just like, wait, what?
Oh. Not gonna lie, I looked that up for a second because I'm like, does Dad know Dua Lipa?
Oh, wait a second, what?
What? The only Dua Lipa song I know is the TikTok one that's like did a full 180. Apparently it's from the song "Don't Start Now," and I only know the line "did a full 180," and that's it.
Well, I'm going with "Stupid Love" by Lady Gaga because the B-side of that is "Smart Brush."
I'm gonna do "In Your Eyes" by The Weeknd. Ooh, okay.
I'm gonna go with Drake because I'm living in his city right now.
Wow.
Okay, so what did you get?
I got "Nerds." You're a smart person who loves to learn things, but you also have a passion for things that are, well, a little bit nerdy. How about you, Dad?
I got "Nerd" too.
Aww. What did you get, Adam?
Hey, Adam, what'd you get?
I got goths.
That makes sense.
You've never really fit in at school, but that doesn't bother you. You're interested in everything strange and unusual. Strange and unusual is surrounded by each side with a tilde, by the way, and would rather be around people who get your dark side. Plus, you look great in black. It's like, what?
But I mean, like, that's kind of fitting, though. You know, you are a little bit of an emo revival kind of guy. Come on, man.
I guess that is true. That was like that wasn't really my high school phase, though. It's hard to quantify what kind of clique me and the boys were in high school. I think we were in the clique that thinks everybody else's clique is dumb.
Yeah. Dad, how about you? What high school clique were you in?
I don't know.
Do you not remember? Come on, you must remember.
There was I don't know if there was a clique or not.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe clique is a pretty like new concept because I think that apparently bullying even is a new concept, and I think that the cliques and the bullying are very closely related. It seems.
I guess I had a couple of friend groups, but like the one like I'll bleep out names, but like the one that was definitely the nerds. They were giant nerds, and I loved them all so much. I spoke with earlier today, actually. He says hi. But we were giant freaking nerds. It's cool though. All right, next up, we can guess your age based on your internet habits. All right, let's see if
they can actually do this. I'm interested.
Yeah. All right, Dad, do you have it pulled up?
What do you do when you go to a website? Google the name of it.
I think you type the full URL. I've seen you do that.
Yeah, either full or part URL. What? Google the name of the website? No, I never do that.
I've done that. I do that because I don't have the right URL 90% of the time, or it'll take me to my cart. Just very telling. Adam, which one did you do?
I rarely Google the name of the website. More often than not, I type part of the URL and then let it auto-populate.
Okay. So
that does take me to some weird places sometimes.
Yeah. What's the primary type of content you post on Facebook? I was gonna say, like, I only look at other people's posts. Like, I'll post photos sometimes, but I only look at other people's posts.
I think, I mean, out of all of us, I think you post the most, like, pictures with friends and stuff. Like, you have your Guelphaloo album.
That's a big call out. Wow, I feel
It's
doxed.
not a big call out. I'm just saying that's a thing. Like, not very many of our friends, I think, post nearly as many pictures as you do. It's something to be
Proud
proud of. Yeah.
Aw. Dad, what
I
do you
post
post?
milestones, for example.
I
So,
post. Okay, well, I put pictures with family and friends or milestones, one or the other. I do.
You do a lot of pictures, Dad. You do
Yeah.
more than me.
Yeah.
If you can believe it, you do more than me.
Well, Mom does more than I do.
That's true.
the hierarchy of picture posting.
Yeah. Okay, what's your favorite social media platform?
Twitter. Facebook.
Facebook. My favorite's Twitter. Adam, how about you?
I like, yeah, I guess I like Facebook as well because I use Facebook the most often. But yeah, I like it too.
Okay. And where do you get your news online?
Where do I get my news online?
Trending tweets for me.
News websites and apps.
Yeah.
Kind of me as well. If I'm legitimately interested in some news, like my Facebook feed has some news on it, but if I'm legitimately interested in the story, I will find the website, a news website. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
And what do you do online to procrastinate? My solitaire. I guess mine would be scroll through Twitter. I do that on the daily. It's very bad.
I don't do any of these.
I know, because you don't procrastinate. Okay,
Yeah.
if you had to procrastinate, Dad, what would you do?
If you were contractually obligated to procrastinate, what do you think you would do?
YouTube playlists? I couldn't stand it.
Mm,
I think stock Facebook pages that people have fallen out of touch with.
There you go. Except for you, it would be LinkedIn. It would be stalking LinkedIn. That's how you would procrastinate.
it's really fun to stalk Facebook pages of people I've fallen out of touch with. I'm gonna just go ahead and admit that.
You can do that? All right. And how do you communicate with your friends online? I was gonna say we have group chats.
We have so many group chats on Facebook Messenger.
I can't keep track of them.
Email.
Okay. I was gonna say I don't think I've had a snap streak in months because I think I turned off my Snapchat notifications. And then I open up the app and there's just like 5 Snapchats and I'm like, I don't even know what this is. Ooh. Okay. Where do you do most of your online shopping?
Mostly Amazon for me, at least.
I'm gonna do brand websites. Dad, are you a
brand website?
Brand websites. How do you date online?
I don't date anymore.
Yeah, I don't date online. Oh God. Okay, what did you get, Dad?
Well, you got it. I'm over 40.
Is it just over 40?
That's all it said. So.
Okay.
All right, Adam. What did you get?
I'm 30 to 39.
Me too. Why are we old?
We're 30-year-olds.
Yay!
This quiz was written by children.
Probably. All right. Do you want to feel even more out of touch? So we are going to do.
Yes.
Okay, Dad. How far down the rabbit hole should we go, Adam? Should we introduce Dad to TikTok today, or should we just leave it at Tumblr girls?
I'd be interested to tell, because Tumblr I can't even explain, but like I think we should talk about. I think we could talk about TikTok because I'm interested to see, Stephen, your reaction to this idea of this being a way for people to communicate.
Okay, so I was gonna say you should have started in 2010, Adam. This is gonna be so hard. So pretty much, in the early 2000s, there's this thing called MySpace where people would it was like before Facebook, but you could share like music links and you had a profile page and it was like less official than Facebook. You could have like MySpace pages for different things. And then when did Tumblr come out? Tumblr came out as soon as I type in Tumblr, it's like dashboard. In 2007, there was the rise of Tumblr, which is a microblogging and social networking website. I had to look up how to describe it. It's essentially like, I don't know, God, I've been on Tumblr since 2010. I feel so old. But it essentially gave, it was a way for people to show off, different subcultures. And then you also had the rise of curated feeds, that created the curated feed, where, you would have aesthetic blocks. This is so much to explain. It sounds so weird. And so then that sort of spread to other social media sites like Instagram and Pinterest and later down the road TikTok. But essentially you can have curated posts, and then different more subcultures spread from the type of curated feeds you would have. You would have you know what, we can let's save TikTok. Let's deep dive into Tumblr.
Sure, let's do Tumblr first then.
Okay, let's do Tumblr girls. Okay, so essentially, this is kind of giving you an idea of stuff that you would do if you were on Tumblr in 2007 to 2020. So the quiz is called, if you've done over half of these things, then you're a Tumblr girl.
Oh, okay.
If you're a Tumblr girl in this decade, Tumblr's been around since 2007. So it's just a big list. So we can just like chat about the different things. And Dad, as you scroll through, you'll be like, oh goodness, Tamara has done this. And then you'll laugh at me. Okay, tell me when you have it loaded.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, so check off all the things that apply to you. Dad, you wonder where my love of Christmas lights came from?
Yeah, I'm wearing ripped jeans right now, so I'm going to kick that off.
There you go. I wore graphic tees and chokers.
No, I don't wear chokers. And checkered Vans, no.
I use Tumblr drawings as my profile pic and Tumblr lyrics, and I posted Tumblr quotes.
Loves crop tops and Polaroids.
I feel called.
Did you say had wanted a room like this? That's you.
Yep.
A bunch of plants, that's you.
Yep.
Bath bomb photo.
I've never done that.
Better photo you dropping one into the tub, no.
Does dropping a phone into a thing of pudding count?
It's not a bath bomb. That's just a literal bomb.
It's a pudding bomb.
It's a pudding bomb. We visited Brooklyn, Dad.
Yeah, I love neon lights, but I'm not big on crop tops.
No?
Polaroids don't do it for me.
You have Polaroids, Dad. You have a wall of Polaroids at your office. You have to check that off. And Starbucks.
Okay, and what does it say there about Starbucks?
I think it's just gotten Starbucks. You like Starbucks.
Did you love Starbucks? Like, do you love Starbucks?
And you've bought vinyls.
Where's the vinyls?
Oh, it's beneath latte art.
Oh, where's latte art?
Keep scrolling down. It's just a big list.
Drank boxed water, no. Posted latte art.
You have drank boxed water. I made you buy me a boxed water once because I wanted to try it. You tried some too. It was very forgettable.
Vinyls, yeah, definitely bought vinyls. I have tons of those. Posted Sunset Fest.
Yep. You've also were obsessed with taking selfies. You used to take a lot of selfies.
That selfie stick's not working anymore.
I'm so sorry.
And grid wallpaper, no.
I had marble and grid wallpaper.
You had a marble phone case.
I did. My Google theme is marble currently still.
Boy.
I love McAlvin's. Wearing them now, it's great. I've listened to the 1975 and Halsey and Lana Del Rey and the Arctic Monkeys. Panic at the Disco.
Finally, you had a Tumblr account. No, I didn't.
Okay.
Lana Del Rey.
I played Lana Del Rey for you before, Dad. And the Arctic... Yeah, and I think I played you the Arctic Monkeys once. So you got to check at least those two off.
No, okay, I'll check off Arctic Monkeys. Got it.
There you go.
Just to give some context for some of this. Actually, no, you guys say what you got then.
Dad, what did you get? How many did you check?
So show my results. You were a Tumblr girl in this decade. You checked off at least 25 things in the list.
God, really?
We're done.
It's because my dad, he likes twinkle lights and records and neon signs, man. It runs in our family. It runs in my blood. Dad is like, just, if for reference, I checked 27 out of 32. I'm only 2 more than Dad.
Oh, God.
Oh, I was the ultimate Tumblr girl. You were the absolute ultimate Tumblr girl. You lived, ate, and breathed Tumblr. In fact, people probably insisted that you were probably Lana Del Rey. Good job, BBXX.
In order to provide a little bit of context or I suppose a background for this, I checked off and I list wore graphic tees, not chokers. No, I like Starbucks. In fact, I do have to admit that I love it, and I've listened to the Arctic Monkeys and Panic at the Disco. Mm-hmm. Those are the 4 things that I've done. Well,
Dad, now you know what a Tumblr girl is.
It's that is pretty much their personality.
You're a Tumblr girl. Okay, let's.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of our podcast Sucks, Stephen.
Oh, no problem. I'm so happy to be here. It's totally me, Stephen Abrams.
Yeah, it is indeed. I don't really know why you would feel the need to specify that at this point. I mean, we have been sitting here with you for an hour and like 15 minutes.
It's not like the footage got lost or anything, and we have to make up what would have been a really funny ending. Woo-woo.
Yeah, again, weirdly specific, but all right. So if you enjoyed the stuff that you heard here, you can visit our podcast Sucks at YouTube. We're also on Podbean, and we have a Facebook and Twitter page that are linked in the show notes. You can also support us on Patreon, but that is a very bad decision right now because we don't have it set up quite yet.
No,
So
it's totally set up. We launched it. It'll be great. Thanks so much to my dad for coming on. You can find him on Twitter at Canary Dentist. You can also like his Facebook page, Cliff Crest Dental Office, on Facebook. He makes his own dental memes. It's very funny. And also the interview he was discussing earlier will be linked in the show notes, as well as some other fun, I would say, like original literature he's created about COVID-19.
Cool. That's very impressive that you did that, Stephen.
Oh, gee willikers, it's no problem.
Oh, see, that totally sounds like my dad. I do him justice.
You really do.
So well.
It's just like hearing a recording of
It's
your
uncanny.
dad.
Yeah. In all sincerity, though, there is a part 2 coming. So get excited when we have we have fan submitted questions for my dad, where he gets to give relationship advice. So stay tuned for that. Like Adam said, follow all of our pluggables linked in the show notes. And now we have Podbean. That's the big thing. Mm-hmm. On Facebook, our page is OMS Broadcasting. And on Twitter, we are Our Podcast Sucks with an X. Everywhere else, it's spelled like normal people. And
the way that normal people spell and not Tumblr girls.
I would say it's more like MSN girls. Jeez, you're giving us a bad name. Thanks so much for watching, guys.
Talk to you all later. Wait, I won't be talking to you. Fuck. All right, damn it.
Bye.
Do the outro again.